Story 1. When I was a kid, my home situation was not exactly the healthiest or happiest, so I would often stay over at my best friend's house. His dad noticed, of course, but never made me feel uncomfortable about it. I would sometimes have all three meals with them. He never complained and even asked me how things were. He treated me like one more kid around the house. I remember one time he wanted to go to the movies together. He told his wife and kids to start getting ready. My best friend said, "But my name is here." He just glanced at me and said, "Well, tell him to get ready too." Back then, I never appreciated the responsibility I was placing on him. Taking care of someone else's kid, making sure I would eat and be safe. The last time I saw him alive was a couple of years ago. My best friend's kid was going to be baptized, and of course I was invited. His dad started chatting with me right away, asking about my life, job, family, and how things were going. It was a good talk. He died of a stroke last year. Of course, I dropped everything to attend his funeral. By then, I called him Uncle. The last thing I said at his grave was, "Thanks for everything, Uncle." I wish I had thanked him while he was alive. Story 2. Having a best friend, someone who will always choose you over anyone else, is something everyone should have. Without one, life can feel quite depressing. Story 3. My grandfather. I was more focused on making money than spending time with him. He died during the pandemic, so I could not even attend his funeral. Story 4. How funny my dad was. Man, I will never laugh like that again. Story 5. The ability to go through life without chemical assistance to numb myself. Story 6. A nice, comfortable job. I had a job at an obscure place. I was paid well, it was very flexible, I loved the work, and my team valued me. I was yearning for a startup job that sounded impressive to others. I changed jobs for less pay and more stock options. It ended up very bad. The team was not great, it was not fun to work there, and there was a clique with the founders. I had to leave before I was there for a year. Every time Sunday came around, I started to feel really sick, like I was going to vomit, unlike my old job, where I wanted to come to work, hang out with my team, and solve difficult but fun problems. I managed to find another job quickly, but it took another 4 years for this job to evolve into one that I liked and found enjoyable. The grass is not always greener on the other side. Story 7. I appreciated my little cat. What I did not appreciate was that he would not be around for long. A living thing cannot be replaced, and no two are the same. Death is forever, and I appreciate that a little more now. Story 8. Youth. Quite honestly, in such a hurry to reach adulthood and freedom that youth was inconvenient when I had it. Story 9. The ability to run and jump. Blew out a knee playing basketball in my late 20s. I did not have health insurance or money to properly fix it, so whatever tear or partial tear I had healed on its own over time. I can walk fine, but if I get careless and run or jump, it will twist just like an ankle does. Story 10. Wealth. I am not extremely rich, but for about 10 years, I did not have to worry about affording food, doctors, or being overwhelmed by an emergency. Now, I am one event away from being in serious trouble. Story 11. Love and having someone there for you at the end of your day. Story 12. My right testicle. It wouldn't be so bad, and I can cross my legs like a mother ***** now, but it itches or needs adjusting sometimes, and it's not there. Kind of like phantom limb. Story 13. Bladder control. I had a hysterectomy at 33, and they nicked my bladder. I started leaking urine through my vagina, and due to the swelling from the hysterectomy, I could not have it repaired for 4 months. It is pretty humbling, and I am grateful for every time I am able to hold on to urine now. Story 14. Having your ears unclogged and regaining full range of hearing is important. The last time I had COVID-19, it developed into a sinus infection and an ear infection. My ears were clogged without any relief from antibiotics or techniques to open the eustachian tubes for almost a full week. I was never more thankful than when it cleared and I could hear again. Story 15. I am a salesman who drives 40,000 miles a year. I would always call my mother when I was driving home during rush hour. I live in New York on Long Island, so traffic is always brutal. Usually, it would take me 2 or 3 hours to get home. This was irregular. Currents. I would call her, and she would keep me busy for at least an hour, talking about anything and everything. She loved to talk, and I loved to listen, so it worked out really well. Now, when I am driving in rush hour, it hits me how I cannot speak to her anymore. Story 16, breathing well. I have chronic obstructive pulmonary disease now, and struggling to breathe is my norm. Story 17, the love I had before I left them for the safer choice. Story 18, my best friend from childhood. I have no one to talk to now. Story 19, my health. I have multiple chronic illnesses that affect my life. To everyone ignoring COVID-19 precautions thinking you are invincible, I truly hope you do not become disabled. Trust me, it is difficult. Story 20. As a 60-year-old woman, I would have to say collagen. If you know, you know. Story 21. Electricity outages occur at least once or twice a year. Almost always near or at night during the summer. You are sweating a lot, scared that the 2 trees in front of the house might fall on you, afraid of being hit by a tornado, or worried that your property might be damaged by hail in complete darkness. Story 22. My teeth had to be extracted for chemotherapy. I have new ones being made at a cost of $5,900, and they will not be ready until October 30th. I have not had solid food since the beginning of July. I am jealous of people who can eat raw vegetables. Story 23. Your you time. Whatever causes you distress, compose yourself after a long day. Take 20 minutes for yourself after work before heading home to avoid bringing stress home. Do not ever give up this time for your mental health. In turn, protect your mental health by never giving this time up again. Story 24. The time I had with my oldest sister and 9-year-old niece was precious. They died in a car accident. I was also in the accident and had just turned 18 2 months before. I went through a lot of guilt because she left behind another daughter who was 11 at the time and a 1-year-old son. For a long time, I wished it had been me instead because it was tough watching my niece and nephew grow up without a mother. Story 25. Working for a company in Silicon Valley where management was exceptional and the women in upper management were simply outstanding. Competent, smart, funny, with no politics or gossip. It was the best group of people ever, but I did not appreciate it until I worked for several companies afterward that were not like this. Story 26. The amount of money I made working at the strip club. The girls come so innocent, full of life in their eyes, and leave empty and soulless by the end. I don't miss my soul. I just miss the money. Story 27. Friends. But I guess if they stopped talking to you for no reason, were they really friends in the first place? It does suck not having friends, though. Story 28. Having energy to do things like talk, read, watch, walk, work, feel, and think. It has been almost 10 years, and I have lost so much, and I did not even know this was possible. Story 29. My knees. Hiking through the mountains feels so normal. I never knew it was something that could be taken away. Story 30. That one strict teacher had amazing teaching and learning methods but was disliked by students because they were considered mean. Story 31. Free will. The ability to go wherever, whenever without hesitation. Now I have a baby, and you can't really do that anymore. You either take your child with you, which is so inconvenient that it's not worth it unless you have a plan or it is something important. A good example is running to the gas station to get a drink or a snack late at night. No longer possible. You have a sleeping baby, and it isn't worth waking him or the effort it would take to get him in and out of the gas station. Also, say goodbye to going out to the bars. Even when you plan to go, you either stop and realize you have no friends anymore or you are just too tired. You can't stay up and drink all night because you have to wake up with a baby. So yeah, free will, I miss that. Also sleep, I miss that too. Story 32. My childhood. I am almost 18, and I have realized I wasted all the good years. Story 33. The view is so beautiful here. I could never appreciate it before. Story 34. My muscle tone. My bladder control. My hearing. My good vision. Story 35. My natural ignorance of politics. The situation is highly addictive if you let it. Story 36. Time. Hug your family and friends. Bring your wife flowers, make her laugh and remember her laugh. Study the lines in her face, memorize her eyes. Story 37. My hearing and my smile. I lost both because of a tumor last year. I am permanently deaf in my left ear, and I have facial paralysis on the left side of my face. Story 38. My father and I were estranged for years, then reconnected shortly before he passed. I really regret all the wasted years. Story 39. My dad poking fun at me, sense of humor very early in the morning. 2014, and I still think of him every day. Story 40. Being able to go to my grandparents' house and walk with them through the green bean garden there. It is a place I can never return to, and it still hurts even 20 years later. Story 41. My body. I am only 36, and since 2020 I have had a back injury. I was diagnosed with hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, and an autoimmune disease. My kidneys are deteriorating quickly. Contracting COVID-19 made my postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome much worse. My heart rate goes from around 67 beats per minute to 110 beats per minute just by standing up from sitting or lying down. I have fainted before. I cannot work anymore. I am trying to get disability benefits, but it is a difficult process. Story 42. Time. Now that it is gone, there is so much I would do differently. Story 43. My sister, my best friend. My mother, my cheerleader. I never recognized it until too late. My father, who showed love in unusual ways. When you are considered the failure of the family, everyone tells you that you will die young if you don't change your ways. Then you wake up still alive at 45, alone. Everyone else has passed away. How did I outlive them all? Maybe I didn't. Maybe this is what happens when you die. Maybe you just go on as if nothing happened, and my family buried me instead. Now that I think about it, things have become very strange since I lost my family. Cherish the ones you love and let them know you love them, because one day you might end up alone like me when you wake up alive. Story 44. A safer world where, when I went to high school, I did not have to worry every single day that one of my peers would show up at school with an assault rifle and enough ammunition to harm my teachers and my friends. I worry when I hear breaking news. If it involves one of my 23 grandchildren or 2 great-grandchildren, or one of my friends' families. This happened to me a few years ago at Glendale High School, where the kids I used to live with go to school. It is a reality, and it is scary. Story 45. Her. For loving me as I truly was, scars and all. Her. For caring and loving me in my darkness. Her. For bearing a child we both lost and still being strong. Her. Story 46. My health. Every time I get sick or have illnesses, I regret the times I took my health for granted. Story 47. Not having much of my past shared online when I was younger, and what was there was never connected to my real name or face. I pity children now. Every mistake they make is documented and may be used against them at some point. Story 48. My childhood or just being a kid. Good morning and good night texts from my ex. Story 49. Family members and friends. Seriously, the weight of the limited time we all have does not really hit until you have lost enough people you care about. Story 50. The childlike wonder for the world that made new things exciting. Story 51. Good friends, the kind of friends you share your deepest secrets with. Story 52. Living close to family, now that I am far away, I realize how convenient and comforting it was to just drop by whenever. Story 53. One dog I had. I know I did not care for him as much as I should have. One day he escaped, and a year later, I saw someone walking him in our neighborhood. I am glad she found him and he has a better home. Story 54. When I was thinner as a teenager, I weighed about 180 pounds and thought I was the absolute fattest. I would spend a long time crying over it. Now, as an older woman, I am close to 300 pounds in 2023. I am steadily working to lose weight without harming myself, but I wish I had never taken those days for granted. My relationship with my body was very troubled back then. Story 55. Both my parents passed away when I was 19 within a span of 3 years. Story 56. My health has never been good. but I was not in as much pain. Story 57. Being naive, the term ignorance is bliss, is not truly understood until you have lived a little, realizing how truly blissful it was to live in the moment without any drama. Story 58. Being thin, young, and cute with a great attitude, a health problem then rocked my world. Story 59. Cable judicious cats dinner historical meeting label bright afterthought groovy. Story 60. My ability to jump, lift objects heavier than milk carton boxes and run. Story 61. My mother, my father, my only sibling, my stepfather, my grandmother, the innocent hope of youth, healthy knees and hips, the time before smartphones. Story 62. My optimism and hope for the future. So many dreams, so many hopes of success. A house, marriage, children, vacations, a long, healthy, happy life. My only hope now is that rent will not increase too much too quickly and that if and when I decide to end my life, I will be able to do it quickly. Story 63. Time should not be wasted on unnecessary things, and focus should be on more important aspects of life. Story 64. Friends. I guess they were bad friends anyway, and I did the right thing by cutting them out of my life. But having no friends is difficult. Story 65. I was in jail overnight once, and I have to say I vastly prefer being bored on my own terms. Story 66. Childhood wonder. When you are a child, the world is bright, colorful, and magical. I used to think it was just how things are. Then I grew up. Story 67. My mom is helping me with my daughter. She passed away during the coronavirus disease pandemic. Story 68. The security net of a parent. I had my mom living in a nearby city, and if something ever happened, I was able to go home. Place to stay. Food on the table. A free washer and dryer. Advice on things like insurance or contracts. Things that I just thought I can get my mom's help with. I felt very alone and unprepared once that was gone. Even in my 30s, I still have questions I wish I could just discuss with my mom because she has been through it. Story 69. The ability to simply go to sleep. I am a mother, and while I used to sleep through natural disasters, I actually did once. Now I wake up every few hours each night to check on my sleeping children. The dog even knows how regularly I wake up and waits at my bedroom door to make the rounds. I wish I could lay my head down and close my eyes without spending hours worrying before falling asleep, only to be woken up to verify everyone's safety. Story 70. Full-time hours and the insurance that came with it. My hours were reduced. My medication costs increased from $12 a month to $700, and I do not know how I am going to survive. Story 71. My dad. I was 13 years old and took him for granted. He died of a heart attack at only 51 years old, and I have lived my entire adult life without him. I would give anything to have him back. Story 72. I am genuinely scared of the thought that I might be living a worse life in the future than I am living now and that I am taking today for granted. Story 73. The ability to breathe clearly is essential. When you are sick, the first thing to go is clear breathing. It is a terrible design by the body. Story 74. High school was a great opportunity to make connections and prepare myself for college, but I did not take full advantage of it. Story 75. Hope. The name of a girl, not the life-draining kind. Laugh out loud. Story 76. Spending time with my two grandfathers, I never realized how much I cherished those moments. They both taught me so much. One taught me the importance of hard work and playing just as hard. The other taught me not to take life so seriously and to enjoy sports. One taught me about money and investing. They both emphasized the importance of family. Those two men will be forever missed, and I regret not spending more time with them while they were here. Story 77. The ability to feel emotions from music is profound. I majored in music and spent much of my time listening to and creating it, so I always appreciated this ability. However, I did not realize it was something that could suddenly disappear one day. Story 78. My copy of Spaceballs 3. The Search for Spaceballs 2. Story 79. Sleep. Once you develop a habit of sleeping less, It is hard to break the mentality that you can still do what you need to do with less. Story 80. Having an able and normally functioning body. Over the past few years, my physical and mental health have declined sharply. I almost cannot remember what it is like to go months without vomiting, let alone so aggressively that it is debilitating. Thus, some of my favorite lyrics have become, I guess it goes to show, does it not? That we have no idea what we have until we lose it, and no amount of love will keep it around, if we do not choose it. Story 81. The free time and relatively stress-free life I had before becoming upper management and eventually a part owner of the company I worked for out of college. I miss being able to leave work at 5 on Friday and not think about it until 8 on Monday. Story 82. My father went missing a month after I turned 18. I wish I had done more to appreciate him and achieved more in life while he was still on Earth. I hope he is proud of me and everything I am doing now. I miss you, Dad. Love you always. Story 83. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, I liked some changes that came from it, such as how strikes are more popular now. However, I do miss the old meme culture, certain makeup trends like colorful eyeshadow, the smaller businesses that used to be in my town, longer shopping hours depending on the time of year, such as 24-hour Walmart during the holidays, and some of my friends. Story 84. There is something about the deafening silence of an empty house filled with the memories of all the good women who loved you more than you loved them. Story 85. Water. We have had no water since 6 a.m. I am desperate. Story 86. My health and my appearance before neurofibromatosis became apparent. Story 87. The way my extended family all got together and did things as a group constantly because of my grandmother. Once they were gone, that's it. The weekly visits, traditions, holiday get-togethers, and family events all dried up. No more big Christmas dinners and games. No more cookouts or campfires at the lake. No more coming together and canning, cooking, prepping beloved family foods to share. No more meeting up for local community events. No more fun trips together. No more Sunday morning breakfasts with whoever came out to visit that week. No more reunions or family fun days. Now you're lucky to see a vague update about their lives on social media. Story 88. My dad used to pamper me a lot, but in my teenage years, I did not appreciate him enough. We lost him in 2016. I was still in my late teens but had completely changed as a person. I miss him a lot and thank God every day that I was born into his family. Now, I have learned to appreciate and double the love I have for my mother and give it to her. Story 89. High school free time. Other than school, you had all the free time. In that moment, it feels like all you do is school. But now that I am an adult, I wish I did not have as many responsibilities just like back in high school. Story 90. Wi-Fi. I moved into a new house, and the Wi-Fi installation took 2 weeks. Story 91. Friends, especially childhood friends. I have friends now, but I never expected to lose my childhood friends. As we grew older, we gradually grew apart from each other. Story 92. My childhood. Being an adult is difficult, and I know I have no clear idea. Story 93. iPod Nano. No touchscreens that lock or freeze, no applications, just your songs and wired headphones that never hit the ground if they fell out of your ear, which happened much less because of the hook design. Story 94. My virginity is mostly because of patriarchal values like being pure or whatever, which I know is unfair and unrealistic, but it still makes me feel bad sometimes. Another thing about it is missing being the only person to really own my body, if that makes sense. I do not know. I also miss my own youth and innocence. Story 95. My job. I miss my former coworkers very much. This new job is not going the way I wanted. Before anyone says that the grass is not always greener, I am well aware of that. Thank you. Story 96. My dad. I was not a troublemaker but never knew the wealth of knowledge and experience, the stories I could have benefited from. Story 97. My virginity. Even though I lost my virginity with another virgin, it did not impact me until later in life just how significant that was. Story 98. The idea of making sure everyone is home and together on family occasions is the tradition of the family gathering. It is not that I completely lost it, but now that one of our family members tragically passed away, Everything feels different and incomplete whenever we all gather at home. We are celebrating occasions, but things just go differently and sadly, probably because we are in a state of grieving. Something feels awful when something is lost unexpectedly. Story 99. My mother was the best. I never realized how much she did for me until she was gone. Story 100. Being able to go out in public with confidence. The fear is crippling. I miss my confidence. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.